Welcome to another broadcast of Don't Give Up. I think this is episode 4. Today we're going to talk about love. I think I'm going to do it more experimentally than I have recently, which means that I'm going to draw pictures, make stuff up, and if it makes sense to you, fabulous. And if not, I had a great time. So, good morning, welcome. Today, and again, if you're new to this series, it's not for everyone. Don't Give Up is for my homies who are doing that T to B work, trauma to being, where perhaps you started somewhere that hurt or gave you distorted ideas about yourself or life, and then you lived from those, and then now you're like, oh man, I think there's a better way. And so you're doing the work to realize the better way. In the first broadcast, I talked about where are you going when you heal? Like, what's there? What's there is you in the present and your desire. Desire is not just like, oh, I want an ice cream sandwich, or give me some of that. Desire is, when I'm speaking to it, I mean the drive behind. It's like your dream. It's a very sort of subtle but inextinguishable rhythm to your heart where it's like, oh, this. It's, and it's interesting because I presume that in saying that, it's almost, I assume that everyone is having that experience. But with human design and the work I've done with clients, I found that, there are things that I thought were an experience or were experiences everyone was having that were more unique to my sort of like perspective. And similarly, there are experiences people are having I couldn't even think of. So I guess whenever I go so far as to speak to desire and the dream and the heart, I'm leaning on seeing that there's stuff outside of me that people are interacting with that makes me think that it must be real. For example, like the book The Alchemist. Everyone, I don't know how many millions of copies, billions of copies were sold, but enough that people are like, yeah. And so staying with that desire, healing takes you to the moment where you feel comfortable and confident with yourself and you are authentic, which means that you're willing to share your feelings and your thoughts. And there's nuance to this. In the last broadcast I talked about, I gave nuance all kinds of nods. I was nodding in nuance the whole time, like, yep, different there, exception. But the exception here is that there is discernment, meaning you don't have to tell all your feelings and all your thoughts all the time to everybody, but you are at least connected to them. You know what they are, and you share them when it is appropriate. Good morning. So today, in talking about love, I want to make it more general. I want to talk about it kind of from the sensation of being. And what is valuable about love? Well, it opens you and it lifts you. And you look through things for, like, it makes things bigger. And what I found, and so here's our picture for today. What I found is that when we have gone through hurt or heartbreak, part of our heart gets covered up. It's like, okay, well, that hurt. It doesn't have to, but let's say you don't have the proper awareness or tools in place at the time of the wounding. And so rather than allow the natural healing of it, so let's roll back. If you are healed, you likely still encounter life, and life's got all kinds of things in it. But what is different when you're healed is the way that you respond to life. There is a greater sense of wholeness and greater faith in life. And so it's not you address it differently. So let's say that in your healed world, you experience heartbreak or disappointment or loss. What you do differently than prior to healing is you let that. You let it rain. You open yourself to the feeling. You accept that this is what it is. You don't try to wrestle it with your head. You allow the fullness of your emotional experience while you then act forward. Prior to healing, what you might do is go into some kind of denial of how you feel. It might be an outright denial where you say like, no, or maybe it's subtle in that you lose yourself or dive into your work or start to eat more or sleep more, or you're escaping the meat of your experience, but you really can't, because it'll chase your last around till you have it. And sometimes it catches you, and sometimes you're lucky and it catches you, because then you have a chance to go forward without it. So anyhow, let's say that this is prior to being healed and something happens and you don't know how to deal with it. And so rather than feel it, you just block off that part of your feeling. Well, over time, and our culture is always putting stuff here too, because it's giving you ideas about how you should be or how life should be. And when you're not, you might feel bad about it or scared. And so before you know it, your whole heart is covered. When it's like that, you can't really see, and it's kind of heavy. Living from this seems harder and more impossible than having an open heart. However, having an open heart, if this has been your experience, likely is associated with fear, because you think it's going to hurt because it has. That's okay. Sometimes it does. So see the heart, it's fine, but it's covered in stuff. When you're here, sometimes you think like, what do I have to do to make my heart some type of way? What do I need to do to feel inspired? What do I need to do to feel connected or purpose or have motivation or, whatever? Nothing. You just remove this, which means like you already have those things established. You only need to redevelop a conversation with them, and you redevelop the conversation through feeling, through checking in with your heart. It does not happen all at once, although it can. Okay, it may not happen all at once, although it can. And if it's not happening all at once, good morning. Today I'm talking about love, and we're doing it a little more abstractly. So love to me is a state of being. It's a way to interact or walk in the world. It's a choice. That's not fear. And good morning. We're talking about love. So if you've gone through some stuff, you've likely covered up your heart so that your sensitivity isn't exposed, so you're not disappointed more, so it doesn't hurt more. And yet from this place, shit is hard. This is your compass. This is your reason of being. And so when you're in those lower states, things seem a lot harder than they do if these little blocks weren't there. And the way to remove the block is to reestablish, or one way to remove blocks. For me, for people I've worked with, like, I want to keep the door open for you to do you, is to reestablish a conversation with your heart by be willing to feel it and hear it. Oh my God. Sometimes it seems incredibly inconvenient, because it's going to tell you you really don't like that person or that thing, or you really do like that thing and that thing. Don't be afraid. You don't have to do anything with that information right now. All you need to do is acknowledge. And if something has hurt, or if you're afraid something is going to hurt, like, come in, imagine right now that there's like a cord, and it has kind of like the little, oh, Cam, oh my God, are you out there? I was thinking about you the other day. I wondered how you were. Okay, so imagine that you have kind of like this little, almost like a bouncer or a security guard would wear, like this cord that goes from like your heart to your ear, and just start to, connect and ask like what it has to say. It doesn't need to tell you all its secrets right now. Kind of coax it out if you've had it shoved under the rug for some time, like, it might not race right to you. You might need to, like, just, hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here. Maybe you commit to doing this for, like, 6 weeks or 6 months. Hey, heart, it's me. What you doing? What you thinking about? What you feeling? Like, start to let your heart know that you're listening. This then takes you out of the feeling of not knowing and not clarity, and gives you the perspective to start to move forward. And that's to say, like, sometimes we're waiting for, it's like when you're in a low state, you're trying to figure out what you could possibly control or do or change to get in high state. And it's generally focused on conditions, like external, like if I have this job or I'm in this place. Sometimes it's internal conditions. If I've, healed that or understood this, or, but love is unconditional. It's always there, which means that in this, what you're doing is allowing it to rise to its natural state, which means you're not trying to make it something it's not. You're just letting it be what it is. And in the being what it is, the barriers to hearing, the things that you're looking for, like the sensations that you're looking for exist already. They're not from conditions. And in connecting with the feelings, then you have the thoughts that allow for the actions that then generate the things. So it's like being, doing, having, rather than having, doing, being, or feeling, doing, having, rather than having, doing, feeling. See what I'm saying? Okay, anything else today? Yes, what else today? Did this make sense? If you're out there, did this make sense to you? What else do I want to talk about? Friendship. Oh, that's nice. Oh, be a friend to yourself. Good God. Recently, it's kind of been, like, it's been so cool. I am so grateful for this journey. At times, I have not been. At times, I was like, oh, like, can't I just be normal? But this week, the disparate, sometimes competing parts of Shaylee, we're like, this is cool. So when I refer to myself in the collective, usually what I'm talking about is sort of like what I perceive to be my personality, kind of like my lower self, the one who's self-interested, fearful, limited mindset. And then I have a relationship with my higher self, which is a sensation outside, like a little bit beyond my body. It's a perspective that's generally a little bit higher and allows for me to make choices that are more inspired. But when I say we, I also mean kind of the part of me that can be like a little crazy. Like, she's the shadow version, or, and then I have a part of me that can be very like wise, and another that's free and creative. You have these different pieces of yourself, and they operate, it depends on what state and depends what environment you're in. Start to pay attention. Like, you'll notice that you're a multitude, and the idea is to have the multitude communicate and to support each other so that they're running in the same direction. And that means that my wildness and my wisdom are sort of like, okay, we're going to go over there, rather than my wildness think like, fuck the system, or I don't, fuck the structure. Like, that doesn't serve ultimately me. And it really doesn't serve that part, but it satisfies that part. And so the secret is coming to figure out what each part needs to be satisfied, and to do it in a way that they're all looking the same direction, pretty much. Anything else today? Yes, what else today? Love yourself. Okay, what does that mean? Love yourself. If you're new to the concept, let it be one. I have a actually silly little video on TikTok, and I think I'm about to get, we'll see. Okay. Imagine that so here's the fastest and easiest way to train self-love. It's free, it's easy, it's cheap. Imagine that you have a love seat in your head, like just a tiny little couch. This is the seat of your focus. only invite things to sit down on your couch to talk to, people, idea, conversations, memories, etc., that feel good. So you might have a tendency to catastrophize or to be critical of yourself or talk shit, or this is your experience. Your experience is happening in here. And so it's up to you to choose what you have going on in there. If you're having a hard time seeing your way around certain thoughts, hire me. I will help you organize your headspace. I was listening to this book by Napoleon Hill. It was a conversation with Andrew Carnegie, Wisdom of Success, and they were talking about like the number one determinant of successful people is having an organized mind. If you've had some shit happen in your life, if you're one of my trauma folk, which you must be because that's who this series is for, sometimes it's hard to take hold of your head because your nervous system is like, I'm not safe, 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 I'm not safe. I have to think more, this is why I teach self-hug. So let's do it right now. You just calm yourself down. All right. Imagine yourself being safe. Let your nervous system melt. Let your heart open. Your shoulders drop. Your belly gets loose. Your breathing gets deeper and slower. Try to feel your lungs. Say, hey, baby. Hey, baby. We're safe. We're safe. I'm safe. I'm with you. I love you. We're okay. We're okay. Because there is no set of circumstances that's ever going to free you. Freedom comes from within. You're going to think the circumstances are outside when I have this, or inside, when I have this, when I believe that. Oh, no, it's now. It's now. Right now. Where it's at. It's now. It's right here. And then from here, things move. Things change, of course. But the end of the maze is ending the maze by allowing the destination relief to be now. It's right now. You got to be comfortable in it now. One of the most freeing things you can do is accept your burdens, accept your challenges. I told this story a few times recently, but I've had a lot of loss and I've gone through a lot of stuff, and my heart was really hurting, but I didn't know it because it had always hurt, But what I had noticed was that I was really uncomfortable in seeking. And it came to me when I was kind of talking and channeling that the place that I was looking for, like place beyond my heartbreak, my heartache, didn't exist. It was never going to go away. And then it was more like, all right, well, if this is what we got, then what can we do with it? How can we be as comfortable as possible? If I can accept that, then what can I look for rather than trying to solve a problem that won't? And then as soon as I did that, as soon as I started to make that choice, it did get lighter. And things started to move and change. And it seems like that's the way of things. Anything else today? No, that's it for today. Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, these are filmed live on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, please follow me on YouTube at Shaylee Edwards. I work with clients one-to-one, and while I do have, again, this personal experience of this material and have worked through it varying angles with a bunch of folks over the last I've been coaching mental, emotional stuff since 2016. I started coaching the body and behavior in 2013. Even though I've got all of that, I'm still only ever taking a person to themselves. This is not, hey, come walk down Shaylee's path coaching. This is, let's get you to the part of you that knows what you need to do for you, which means I'm not putting anybody into any kind of established system. My system is to get them to themselves. So each person's journey there is a little unique. You can read more about it at havebook.com. I also sell art for incredible artists in the New Orleans and beyond area. I've taken a little break from it because it's hot outside and I don't want to go to the gallery, but I'll be around more for that. Upcoming, anything else? I've got a ton of content out there. Some of it, like over 200 videos on YouTube, a bunch of articles on Medium, God knows thousands of posts on Instagram. And so if you are on a path of resolving resolution, perhaps there's something there for you. Send me a message if you have any questions, and please comment and let me know what's helpful in these videos in this series. Have a beautiful day.